I can assure you that an agonizing and embarrassing death somewhere in Spencer County was not on my to-do list that day. It was a beautiful October morning, and all I wanted to do was take my normal bike ride, which is 25 miles, 2 hours, mostly flat, very little traffic, so very safe. You see, I'm not a gambler. I am a planner, but I'm also a realist, and I understand now that God has a sense of humor, and he likes every once in a while, once in a blue moon, to see what happens when shit happens to a planner like me. And on that particular day, the atmosphere was ripe for shit, because at the time I was going through my first divorce, and as I'm riding, I got plenty of time to think about what life is going to be like after divorce. And all I can think about is that stupid cliche where I'm going to get the Volkswagen and she's going to get all of our friends, which is totally fair because, truth be told, I don't make a lot of friends because I don't really like people. But I know that after divorce, that needs to change. So I have formed a plan. It's very simple. I'm going to be more spontaneous, outgoing, and affable. So as I'm riding my bike past Tom Sawyer Park, I noticed that the parking lot is full of cars and there's bike riders everywhere and all kinds of activity. And so the new spontaneous me leaps into action and decides to stop and talk to somebody and ask what's going on. And the problem is that she's really cute. And as she's talking, I'm just really watching her mouth move. But I catch Bardstown and bike tour in 50 miles and rolling hills, and it's beautiful, and you should come along. New plan. I'm going to ride twice as far as I normally ride out to a place I've never been to with a bunch of strangers. But it was perfect. It was exactly what I needed to do. And I'm about an hour into this bike ride, and I get what I think is like a runner's high, and my senses are all like completely supercharged. I mean, the air is crisp, and the brook is actually babbling, and the sunshine is dappled, and there's graceful horses prancing past these rustic barns that smell oddly of tobacco, and it was beautiful. And now what my senses failed to notice were all of the rest stops along the way, where all of the other bike riders were stopping for refreshments, but not me. I'm in the zone. I don't need refreshing. I'm going. And before I know it, I'm there. I'm in Bardstown. And it's lovely, and it's quaint, and it's actually kind of deserted, because I swear I'm like the first bike rider there. And I get to the finish line, and I think, holy shit, did I just win the race? But then I come to my senses, and I see an older gentleman, and he's unpacking what I think is like camping gear from a truck near the finish line. And I ask him what's going on, and he's not quite as cute when he explains to me the way a bike tour is supposed to work, you idiot. You see, you take your time, and you enjoy the ride out to Bardstown, which is 50 miles one way, and then you spend the night, and then the next day you ride 50 miles back. You see, I didn't know any of that. And I thought it was a 50-mile round trip, and it's one day, and I have no money, I have no phone, I have no camping gear, that's for sure. And I have no choice but to start riding back to Louisville. But I don't panic. I don't panic because I feel good and I can do this. And in the process, the new spontaneous me is accidentally going to make his first 100-mile bike ride, which is a big deal because it's called a century, and I think it's so cool that it has a name. And I'm charged up as I start making the trip back to Louisville, and I'm following the markings of what I think is the trip back to Louisville. A couple hours later, the sunshine is not quite as dappled anymore, and it's about 94 degrees out, and my water's getting low, and there's no rest stops out here on the return route today because I'm the only idiot on the return route today. And I'm not even sure I'm still on the return route because I haven't seen any markings for like an hour, and my water is getting lower, and I'm alone, and I'm lost, and there's nothing out there except some fat old horses and shitty ass barns. And as I get to one of those stupid rolling hills, I look up it and my water runs out. And I accept the fact that I'm going to be the only bike rider on this stupid bike tour to ever die from spontaneity. But I make my final plan, and I make a deal. I beg God to let me live, and in return, I promise I will never be spontaneous again. And I swear I hear him laughing as he sends me a sign and nearly kills me with a pig truck. But then I notice that the pig truck is on Taylorsville Road, and I know Taylorsville Road can get me back to Louisville. So I put the sun to my back, I put my head down, and a mere 3.5 hours later, I'm back at Tom Sawyer Park, and I'm bow-legged, and I'm sunburnt, and I collapse into the grass. And as I do that, I see the odometer on my front tire, and I can't believe what it's telling me, that I just rode 127 miles. And just for a second, I stopped feeling like an idiot, and I actually let myself be proud of the new spontaneous me. And of course, I form a new plan. First, I'm going to walk home from Tom Sawyer Park, because after 10 hours on that bike, my crotch is on fire. Secondly, I am going to plan to be more spontaneous. And I know that means I'm welching on my deal with God, but I also know that God has a sense of humor, and he'll forgive me, because God knows shit happens. Thank you.